So today we're going to be swapping out our shop vac for a 1 horsepower Grizzly wall mount dust collection unit. And this particular one comes with the canister included. I think it runs somewhere around $375. I could have got probably better price on one, but it did not include the canister. And I think a shop my size in a 1-car garage, I think this will probably be plenty enough. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the smaller parts that I got. And this is the clamps. Actually, I got 4 of those. And here's the reducer from a 4 to a 2 inch or 2.5 inch. Then we got our 10-foot hose that we got from Yellowhammer. It's a 10-foot clear hose. That's going to get us from where we put the unit up over to where the dust cyclone is now. All right, this is the canister that is going to hook up to the unit itself. I think this is a 1 micron. I thought for $375 you couldn't beat this, especially for a small shop. All right, so now for the unit itself. Gotta say, this guy is pretty heavy. Well, looks like it's packed pretty well. All right, y'all, I gotta put this on the floor. She's got a little bit of weight on her. All right, so that looks like the bracket, basically like a French cleat that we're gonna use to hang it on the wall. And there's our bag and clamp. Right there is the motor and impeller. And that's our bracket that you actually mount this bracket on the motor and you hang it on that bracket. And then we got our handle. So we have pretty much got everything unpacked. All we got to do now is put the mounting plate on the back of the motor and blower assembly, then put the canister on the bottom of this and put the bag on it, and then mount this mounting bracket to the wall. The whole assembly just hangs on it once you get that put up. And then all we got to do is hook the hoses up to the cyclone. All right, y'all, so there's very few bolts that comes with this, but you're gonna have 4 of these shorter bolts that's gonna mount this plate to the bottom. I'm gonna put all these in, and I'm gonna leave them a little loose before I get them all tightened up. That way, if there's something that's not lined up quite right, it shouldn't be as aggravating. That is a little tighter. It's probably got a little bit more paint in the hole. And we're gonna put this last one in. Like I said, there's very little assembly on this. So we got them all 4 in now. We can go ahead and tighten them down. Then we'll retry and do these last 2 and we'll be done with this part of it. Alright, so now we gotta mount the canister to this, and that's what these other 6 screws is gonna come in place with, is mounting that canister up there. Alright, y'all, so now for the canister, gotta put these screws through the actual collection unit, and the canister is actually threaded, so put those in there. They seem to go in pretty good. Tighten those up. So we'll get 2 put in fairly tight, or kind of snug, not real tight where I can't move it around. Where to hold it on there. Then we're gonna put these last few in. Or that one's in a little bit tighter spot than the rest of these, so get this ratchet. The last thing we got to do as far as this part of it goes is put the handle on it. Now the handle is going to mount right up here on this rod, and it's going to turn these baffles on the inside of the canister to help clean that filter out some. And then we got to put the bag on the bottom, and the bag is going to be secured with this metal band. But I think as far as those 2 things goes, I'm gonna wait till I get it up on the wall, and that'll be two things I ain't gonna work around, and it's gonna have a little bit of weight to it. I don't need anything else interfering with that part of the process. So I'm gonna take the flags off the wall and figure out where I want that mounting bracket. Alright y'all, so this is what we got so far. The unit itself is about 32 inches tall, and then the bag that's going to be fastened to the bottom somewhere around 30 inches. So we'll still have a foot or so down at the floor that we'll have to work with. The only thing is, I don't know if you can see that, but it seems like this part of the unit is kind of flimsy. It's probably made out of, you know, somewhat thin material, but anyhow, we're going to see how that works out when we cut it on and see how much vibration there is. Also, this just hangs like a French cleat. So I guess if I get to feeling too uncomfortable about it, I can try to figure out some way to fasten that bottom part in. So anyhow, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and hook the bag up, put the handle on for the cleaner on the canister, and then I'm gonna run the 4-inch pipe over to the cyclone, and we're gonna see how well that cyclone and container handles this unit. Hopefully it won't damage it. Alright y'all, got the bag on it, kind of adjusted a little bit. Look, you can't be afraid to stretch this. It'll take a little bit of stretching. Now we got to get these bands on. Hopefully with a cyclone we won't have to empty this out much. I'm gonna try in that first spot. Band being folded, stretch it out a little bit. And then every time you do that, it stretches that band out a little bit from where it was folded up, and you can get it pretty tight. Y'all, I was gonna show y'all some of the stuff that I see on some of the other videos where people's complaining about this piece right here on the intake of the unit. People's cutting that out, and I think if you're using a cyclone, you shouldn't have that problem. Most of the stuff going in this bag on the unit should be just fine particles anyhow. So I don't think our hose is quite long enough to go to the container, so I think we might have to move a couple things around in here. I don't want to do nothing permanent till I see exactly how this is going to act, because I'm not exactly sure what kind of pipe or hose I'm going to have to buy in the end. So we got the hose hooked up. If you have a problem getting that hose on the actual housing, you can use some paste wax, and that helps it go on real smooth. Seems like a pretty good hose, seems pretty thick. But anyhow, for right now we got it hooked with a reducer to our regular shop vac hose, and I got it hooked to the cyclone. Now, the one thing that I kind of worry about on the cyclone, I don't really worry about the cyclone. It might restrict the airflow, but the top of this container is kind of flimsy. If this actual drum works with this system, I think what I'll do, I'll take the top of this and I will reinforce it with some plywood so it will strengthen it up a little bit. So anyhow, with that being said, we fixing to cut this on, and we're gonna see what it does. The only blast gate that I'm gonna have open is the one over here for the table saw. And I'm not gonna really run nothing through the table saw. Well, I might run a couple boards through there so y'all can actually see what's going on with the bag, see how much dust gets through this cyclone into the bag, and see how this barrel and all works. So we'll try to put it on wide view and see if I can capture all that at one time. Alright y'all, so after running the cyclone hook to the table saw a few minutes, I think there's still some work to do. And I think what I'm going to have to do is extend this 4-inch pipe all the way over to the cyclone, and probably even replacing it with one of the bigger ones. When I checked the suction at the end of the 4-inch pipe, it seemed to be doing really good. Then when I come over here to the cyclone at the end of the shop vac hose and checked it, it wasn't near what I thought it should be. So anyhow, I think once we get that situation straightened out, I think this will work really well. This is the first time me dealing with one of these, so it's kind of a learning curve. It seems to be I think it's maybe even a little quieter than shop vac. The shop vac's kind of loud. So anyhow, if y'all enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see y'all on the next one.